A question I would like to ask basketball fans is why is there hardly any interest in Deandre Ayton during free agency? So far during free agency, I have seen hardly any teams that were interested in acquiring this guy. The only team I see right now that's really interested in getting him is the Indiana Pacers, and even with them, they're kind of hesitant in signing him. I've heard that they don't really want to give him the max. They want to give him slightly below the max. So they're trying to nickel dime him, which I found interesting. I guess I'm surprised by this because DeAndre Ayton to me strikes me as a all-star caliber player. To me, he's already there in my eyes. That just he's right at that level, and you would think that teams would want to get an all-star big man. This man is a legit 7 feet. He's very mobile. He's very quick. He has a very good post up game, which is rare in today's big. So he could post up, but he also has a good jump shot, just good at hitting the mid range shots from what I've seen. His 3 point shooting also improved this year for a big. I think he shot 36% from three, so another valuable tool he has. On top of that, he's a great defender. Just he's great at switching out on guys on the perimeter. He's good at guarding screens. He's also great at guarding post-up players, just like what he did with Jokic last year during the playoffs. He was good at containing him. So you think with all those tools that there would be a lot of teams knocking on his door to get him, but there's been hardly any interest, and that to me is a shock because great big men in this league are not a dime a dozen. They're just very hard to get, especially a guy who can easily be a 2010 player. I just don't understand why teams wouldn't want him. And on top of that, a two-way guy, just a guy who could do it on both ends of the court. Just to me, that to me is just kind of shocking. I have some ideas of why teams are not really interested in him. One of the reasons is I believe it has to do with his game 7 performance, of how he just didn't try hard in that game at all. He just didn't compete in that game 7. He decided just not to show up on purpose simply because he was angry at the Suns for not being willing to give him a max deal. He found out about it allegedly, and he just tanked that game. I do think that was a terrible look on his part. Just it showed he lacked competitive fire. I can definitely understand teams being turned off by that. That's definitely a red flag, but I still wouldn't knock him for that 100%. I still be willing to take a risk on him because if you look at, last year, he was great during the playoffs and a huge reason why the Suns got to the finals. So I kind of give him a small pass on that. I'm still willing to take a risk. He's young, and you just hope he matures from that. So I think that's one of the reasons for sure. I think the second reason is that teams believe that he's not effective without Chris Paul or Devin Booker, that he wouldn't be able to put up good numbers without those guys. I don't believe that. I think that belief comes from the Suns being a lottery team before Chris Paul got there, and that once Chris got there, suddenly things changed and they took off, and I think people just associate Chris with making DeAndre Ayton better than what he is, but I disagree with it. I think it was a combination of Chris helping that team and giving them structure on the offensive end, but I also think it was also DeAndre Ayton getting better as a player, that he put in the work to get better. So it was a combination of both of those things. But I think that has played a huge role in that. Teams just believe he's a product of Chris Paul and that system. I disagree with it. I do think DeAndre Ayton will be a 2010 player wherever he goes. I think he's going to show people that. I'm just I'm still dumbfounded by it, but I think also another factor in this is just we're in the era of small ball and teams just not valuing bigs like they did in the past. So that could play a role in it. But let me know what you guys think about this. I want to hear your opinions, and thanks for listening.